Alright guys, today's date is August the 11th, 2020. I wanted to go over the euro dollar here a little bit. I had somebody ask me a really good question in my premium group, and so I wanted to throw out a video because I thought this would be some great free content for everybody, and I think it'll help you if you fully understand it. So the question she asked me was, is this level right up here, let me put in some lines for you, right here, is this what I would define as a structure sell? I'm not going to go into all the details of what a structure trade is as I've defined it in my course, but because it is pretty lengthy and a lot of people have trouble understanding it at first. But basically what it is it's a pattern that shows up in the markets, a topping pattern, and it typically leads to some pretty good moves, reversals, and it's basically taking advantage of weaknesses that are showing up in a trend. So looking at the euro dollar, let me zoom out just a little bit. You can see this. Look at this trend. This trend has went on and on and on and on and on. By the way, we took some longs. There was the euro CAD and euro yen. We took long off of this because this has been showing on the weekly and monthly chart that this is going to blow up. And that's exactly what it's done. In fact, if I go to the daily chart here, you can see that we went basically from, this is June 22nd. It's about a month and a half later. And this thing went from 111-ish to 119.15 is essentially the top. That's a huge move for the euro in a matter of a few weeks. So back to our H4 time frame here. Zoom in just a little bit. Again, what we have here is we have a low down here. We pushed up, pulled back a little bit. Some pushes up, small pullbacks, push up, small pullback, push up, small pullback. You can see there's barely been a pullback in this entire trend. Push up, a little bit of a pullback here. Push up, a little bit of a pullback here. And then we get one more big push up, and then we get an extensive sell program coming in right here. And the key is where this thing came down to. Of course, it came down to our major moving average and popped off of that. But these two levels right here are really the last lows in this trend. Something you need to really pay attention to when you're looking for a top in a market. If you have pushes up like this, small pullback, push up, another small pullback, a push up, another small pullback, push up, and then you begin to get some deeper pullbacks, that means more sellers are coming into the program. And if you see resistance on a higher time frame, that's really indicating you're probably getting into a region where the market is going to get ready to drop or reverse to some degree. So that can be a great area for you to take a sell. Well, again, right here, you have a big push up right here. This is the last wave up, and then you came all the way back down to this swing low and this swing low. When you see this right here, this is a pretty strong indication the market is getting ready to drop most likely. And I told a couple people that had inboxed me about this, and I told them that, hey, this is probably getting ready to come to an end for now because of some of this price action. It's just getting really heavy on the higher time frames. So what do you have here? You have a big push up right here. This ends up being sort of a structured trade setup. I wouldn't call it 100% because of some information we're lacking here, but it's very, very close. So yes and no was the answer that I gave the student. But at any rate, this was an M30 CRT. If you are familiar with what a CRT is, this is an M30 CRT. And at any rate, even if it is not a structure sell, you definitely can see we were beginning to get some sellers into this market. So if we retest the top, it's most likely going to be a double top. The mistake a lot of people take when they're trying to create double top patterns or take a double bottom pattern is they will see a push up, a pullback, and then they'll be like, oh, well, this could be a double top. Let me short up here, and it continues to go and go and go. In order for you to find a legitimate double top or double bottom, you need to make sure you have the right kind of price action, preferably something like this. And you also need to see momentum waning on the higher time frames. In case you're totally lost and confused as to what I mean by that, let me show you. So if you go to the higher time frame, this is the weekly chart right here. Again, you can see this nice little trend up. It just kept going and going and going. You see a little bit of a pullback here. This is, if you go back down to the 4-hour time frame, this is going to be this little bit right here. You're finally seeing a little bit of selling right here. Then you get the big push up, and then you get a nice hard sell program right here. Again, on the 4-hour time frame, it's going to be this right here. And when I see this kind of pullback all the way back to the last lows, that's when I become very interested in a potential sell on a pop. So going to the daily time frame, remember what I said. You need to have momentum waning. In other words, it needs to begin to weaken before you say, hey, I'm going to take me a sell up here because it's a double top. So the way that I find out if momentum is reversing or dropping or waning, however you want to put it, is I look at my momentum indicator down here. And this is very, very, very important. Again, here's the first leg down. This is the 4-hour time frame. First leg right here. Go back to the daily here. This is the key right here. You pulled back here. Look at what the momentum is doing. This whole ride up, you can see the momentum continues to fly up with price. Everything is entirely normal here. Then you come up to here. Price reverses back down. Momentum comes back down. And again, that is entirely normal. It should be doing this. If price is pushing up, so should the momentum. If price is coming down, the momentum should be dropping. Right here is the key in determining whether or not this is a good double top / structure trade / 30-minute CRT. We pushed up right here, and as we pushed up on price, this last leg up before we fell a couple hundred pips, what was the momentum doing? The momentum right here, again, this is the bottom of this last leg up, and this is the top of the market right here. Price is pushing up like this, so this green line right here, this momentum should be pushing up. It's not doing that. Instead, you have momentum beginning to, well, continuing to push down right here. That is entirely abnormal. That should not at all be happening. So when you see prices pushing back up like this into the highs, and you see this nice little bit of momentum continuing to push down, we even crossed down on our lines here, that's a really strong indication this thing is getting ready to drop. And that's exactly what we had. So again, going back to the 4-hour time frame, these two lines right here, let me go back to the 30-minute actually. Let me paint it on here for you guys. The 30-minute CRT levels were right here to basically right here. This was the top here. We pulled back. We came back up, spiked up to retest it. A little bit of drawdown up here. Let's see. 119.09. The high on this was 119.16. About 7 pips of drawdown. No big deal. And then came the big sell. And we have since gone from 109.16 all the way down to 117.21. So 195 pip drop. But again, the key in understanding this was the fact that you had the price action set up on the 4-hour time frame, and then on the daily time frame, this is super important, you have the momentum as you push up this last leg up. The momentum was collapsing, and that's a very, very important key. How important is that? Well, when I told these guys the euro pairs were getting ready to blow up very soon, the momentum on the weekly and the monthly is what told me that. So I take a very close look into what the momentum is doing on my charts when I'm trying to determine tops or bottoms or major moves that are coming in the market. So if you don't understand momentum, this is definitely something you need to add to your toolbox. And by the way, if you've taken my course or if you're only partially through my course, the advanced course, there is a section on momentum that you should probably watch many times over so you fully understand this, because a lot of courses don't go over things like this. So, but I just wanted to show you guys that today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments or feel free to reach out to me personally. I'm more than willing to help you understand this. In the meantime, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.